for joining our first guest that we have today with ThinkCast. So, this is our first recording, our first session that we're putting out with ThinkCast. And ThinkCast is really about storytelling because everybody has a story to tell and everybody has a story worth hearing. And I had a person in mind that I wanted to kick this series off with because through my journey of jumping in to be an entrepreneur, leaving corporate America and doing this thing on your own, this girl over here, Allie Starr, has had kind of a similar journey. And she doesn't know this, but I kind of was like watching her from afar when she was doing it. And she had some influence and some inspiration to me, knowing that, hey, look, you know what? If someone I know can do this, maybe I can do that too. And we connected. She was further in her journey than I was, but when I was first starting off, we connected and we did some work together. And she continues to be a force to reckon with. And I could not be happier to have her on this first episode. So, Allie Starr with Tashi Deley. How are you, girl?
Carrie, I'm so great. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I have chills just right back at you with all the beautiful compliments and the confident courage, the vulnerability, the confident being confidently vulnerable in these spaces, I think is why you and I get along so beautifully, is that we're not afraid to say, hey, here's the mess I'm creating or the mess that is my life right now. And then let's clean it up like bit by bit so that we can do the things we were meant to do. So thank you for having me.
You are welcome. But one thing that I've learned is everybody is messy. I
Yes,
mean, it's like
yes.
everybody is messy. Everybody has like this mess behind, and we might only see, surface level things, but behind there's stuff that needs to be worked on, worked through. So, okay, Allie, so you are a bank executive and you're doing you're doing like culture work
Yeah.
and you're doing all of these amazing things and you leave and start a company called Tashi Delay, which I guarantee you people are like, what's the name?
Yeah.
What do you do? I know this because we talked about it, but like let's start there. Let's start
Yes.
with like what happened? What made you make that jump?
Well, so first of all, let's just start with what Tashi Delay means, right? It's a Tibetan greeting, Carrie, that means I see you and I honor the greatness within you.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I see you and I honor the greatness within you. And so when Tashi kind of had its birth, I'll say, I wasn't seeing myself. I wasn't seeing myself, and I mean, I might have seen other people, but if anything, I was seeing them with a pedestal.
Sure.
And then where do they have they have no place to go. My therapist once said they have no place to go but down. So when you put people on pedestals, right? Or you think you're not enough, or you're chasing, whatever, you're not defining what success looks like in your heart. You're chasing air. And so there was just so many places. So like like I wanted to be Tashi, right? Like, so it wasn't like about like, oh, I'm this and I'm going to share it with the world. It's like, no, but I want that. That's why I didn't name it Allie Starr. I didn't feel God calling me to name it Allie Starr, or like, you like I speak for a living, right? So I do keynotes and cultural development and some one-on-one and like group development, right? Like real talk, right? Like you said this 7 years ago and I still haven't healed from it. Like that kind of stuff. Like it's not like here's customer service. While that's important and I'm not minimizing that, that is not at all the work that I get to do with companies when they say, Allie, let's talk, it's deep. And then we recognize if we're a good fit. And if not, I have lots of friends in the industry that do different work that are phenomenal in their areas that they're built for, that I refer them to. But we're talking about deep, deep, deep things that we don't want to pull out and discuss, especially not at work. And so those are my kind of companies. But so what happened, Carrie, is this. I, for once, now I had worked for lots of different areas, right? I mean, just to recap real quick, in case you don't remember, I had worked for the NBA.
Yep.
I had worked for the NCAA, like in sports, NBC 26. I thought I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. So you see that theme there. And then I was an elementary school principal. No, I was a high school secretary, which I am not terribly organized. So that was like a horrific decision on someone else's part. And they tapped me on the shoulder. And they're like, this is not working. Like, we need you someplace else. So then I became the principal, which I got to love up on the parents, the kids, and just express my love for life and people. And so that was a part of the journey, right? And I had personally trained people, as you mentioned, was in corporate America for Verve, a credit union here in Oshkosh, and I finally found a place that I felt most seen, valued, and they used my strengths and they leveraged my strengths. And they were like, hey, look at these things that people call weaknesses. We just call those differences. Like, that's not a weakness. I'm not asking you to do accounting. I'm not asking you to be in the numbers industry. I'm asking you to be in the people business. And we were doing something that was really unprecedented in the sense of like loving. It's kind of like that Southwest model of like loving up on your people so hard that they care and they love up on the community or the clients or the members or whatever you want to call it. And it was unbelievable. And that's what so rocked my world is, why do I feel like I need to leave when I finally found the most homiest, coziest, like best and highest use I've ever found? And so that was the question is like, it was, I wasn't running from something from that career. Every other career I was running from it. I'm like,
Right.
enough. I'm exhausted. What's wrong with these people? What's wrong with me? Like, why am I so discontent? Why do I feel like I'm not living out my purpose? And it was like constant. And then it was like, can you keep a job? Like, bro, you like go into a job every couple of years and then you're out. Like, what is, and then it became like, well, what is wrong with me? So my dad had been in a career, Karri, for 40 years. It's like, okay, so then it's like, I can't even keep a job for 3 years. I'm discontent.
That's a culture thing, isn't it? Like your like baby boomer culture,
Yes,
you take a job and you stay there for 40 years and you get your pension, your 401k, and you retire and you're done. And so that's a cultural difference. And I'm sure that was a little voice inside your head that was saying
totally.
like stay here. You found what you wanted. You need to stay here. And there
Yeah.
was probably internal conflict with that.
I almost thought I needed a villain
Sure.
to leave because it was great. I mean, in terms of what I knew as my priorities, flexibility, freedom to use my gifts and feeling like they were leveraged, right? Like so many people in the workplace, whether they're entrepreneurial or not, say they feel they have untapped potential. There's like a crazy percentage, Karri, and I don't have it on me right now, but it's like they feel like they're not living up to their best and highest. Like the percentage is unprecedented. And
Right.
so it's like, whoa, what am I? So here I am having this the freedom to be me, the flexibility in my schedule and the financial, like all of that was great. And not to mention I was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
like probably the worst possible time, right?
correct. And that's when it wasn't my timing. So I'll distinctly remember a friend of mine came to me and said, hey, I'm feeling called. I'll call it the Holy Spirit. You call it the universe, call it God, call it whatever you want. But I felt like the Holy Spirit was moving through her towards me. She's like, I don't want to do this. And I love when people start out with like, what I don't want you to know about me is boom. I love the, it's like, she's like, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, say more. And she's like, I feel called to give you this book, but I'm afraid that if you read it, you're going to leave. Like
Oh,
you're going to leave the company. And in 2 weeks, I would consider myself a not very decisive person. And I've been working with my coach on this, Karri, where it's like, she would always say, hey, Allie, indecision is a prison. Indecision is a prison. Far more is lost by indecisiveness than it is by taking some sort of action. Even, you can normally redo it. So I'm a person that overthinks quite a bit anyways. So to the fact that I just gave you all of these things, I loved my job. I loved it where I did it. I love the people I did it with. Checked all the boxes personally. I'm going through a divorce, right? So then at that point, you're going from two income household to one,
mhm.
and throws this book at me. And within 2 weeks, I have the domain of the new company, and the dream in my heart that I cannot unknow. Like I can't unknow it.
What was the
The
book?
book I love you. I knew you were going to ask, girl. I
What
knew
was
you
the
were going
book?
to ask. And this is where I'm going to tell anybody that listens to this, it's like, pray about it. There are so many great books out there. Not everyone is for you. This one was for me. It was the right time, the right season, the right space. Chase the Lion by Mark
Mm,
Batterson.
I've read
It,
that book. You want to know
Carrie,
why I read that book?
tell me,
Because you told me about it.
did you love it? I mean, I don't know. Like, what did
Do you
you
want
think?
to know? Do you want to know
Tell
how much
me.
I loved it at the time when you gave it to me?
Yes,
I actually forgot it was that book.
first.
I loved that so much that I was talking to my kids about that because they were graduating high school around that time. My
Yep.
son went and got a big old tattoo with a lion and wrote "Chase the Lion" on his bicep.
I can't, I want to cry right now. Like, that's the stuff, right? Like,
Mm,
that's what, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Now, whether that's on page, words on a page and it pulls off and it just speaks into your soul, or it's another human, or
right.
it's a silent moment, like, I don't know what it is, right? It can be that inflection point can be different for all of us, and it usually is, right? But that was the start of the tipping point. Okay, the start, not the, but let me, fast forward, or excuse me, rewind a couple weeks prior to this book. Why do I think I was ready in that moment to say, yep? And it was so hard for me because the CEO that hired me and I were very close. We were extremely close, and we had shared dreams and hopes and goals, and like, I was going to be his ride or die and he was going to be my ride or die, and we were going to do this thing together and live out our dreams. But what I realized quickly is that was my dream within his dream.
Sure.
That wasn't the dream God created me for. And
Sure.
so that's where it's like, if you don't dream so big that God has to intervene and show up, you're not dreaming big enough.
I
Like,
believe that.
it's so easy to say, but like, how many of us have sat back and like, I'm kind of afraid of my greatness. Like, I'm kind of afraid to be great. Like, who am I to be great? Who am I to start a Brandcast, a ThinkCast? Like, who am I to, like, so many of us can sit back in our like greatness and like not bring it forward. And then but bit by bit by bit. But here, I'll talk about the 2 weeks leading up to that book. Okay. The 2 weeks leading up to that book, I was so discontent. I mean, my marriage, and you don't get married to get divorced, right? So like, that was such pain and grief, and I didn't know how to grieve. I still am learning how, but so all of that, and I'm like looking in this mirror. There's just so much pain, and I remember one of my mentors said, "Allie, I'm kind of in the valley," and he goes, "You're not in the valley, baby. I think you're in the swamp. Like, you are in the swamp, right? Like, neck deep in that swamp. Like, just keep
I see.
like Dory, just keep swimming, sweetheart. Like, just keep swimming." And so I'm like, thank you for honoring that, because I have a tendency to like act like it's not that bad. I got this. Like, I'm strong enough. I can figure it out. Like, my ego wants to show up when I'm hurt,
Sure.
and like take control instead of just saying I'm hurting. Like,
Right.
and now I can say like I'm super sad, right? Like, life is heavy for me right now, where before I'd be like, I'm good. How are you? And I put on this face because I thought that like sharing
You
my
didn't put on a face, you put on a mask because you taught me
that's
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You're right, baby. I put on a mask because I thought this is not Carrie's problem, right? Like this, but also what that did, Carrie, was tell people that like life should be happy all the time, or like life should be easy all the time whenever they saw me. And it's like, I remember someone saying to me, like, you make it look so easy. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a massive disservice. Like, I'm miserable right now. Like, I am miserable right now. I'm not okay in my own skin. I'm discontent. I am not happy. I am not fulfilled. I don't have unspeakable joy, even if it looks like it on my face or the way I'm dressed or whatever the stories they told themselves. And so I was doing a disservice by not being authentic, when I met with people. But 2 weeks prior, I'll just share this quickly. I sat and reflected, and I'm like, why am I here? Like, almost like, why am I here? And two things I did. I remember writing my eulogy because a book I read said, write your eulogy. And that was transformative. And so in some of our Tashi Deley work, we do eulogies. If people aren't comfortable doing a eulogy care, like their own eulogy, and I love stoicism, so I actually reflect on my death often. my death often. In fact, I talk about it a lot with my kids to the point where they're like, that's okay, mom. If you die, we'll just go live with papa. Like, and they're not being, but I remember being so afraid to talk about death, like so afraid to talk about it. And now it's like, I just like meditate on it almost. And like, Lord, it's like, so first of all, I was like, this is temporary,
Mhm.
right? And so when I expire, whenever that is, who knows, that I want to look back and say, like, what I do? What was it all for?
What was your
Like
legacy?
that's it. Like what did I do? And what didn't I do that I wish I did? And 90% of people that are on their deathbed, Karri, they say they wish they would have lived, loved, and forgave more. We can learn from that.
We
And
can.
so I wrote my eulogy. I spent some serious time with God. I realized my relationship with God at whatever when I jumped ship at like in my late 30s, I remember thinking my relationship with God is the same as it was when I was 5 years old and I'm 35 or whatever. It's like, if you want to know why you're created, tap into what you think created you.
Sure.
For me, I think it's God.
Sure.
So I'm like, I remember this moment. I've never heard his voice this clear. I'm recently divorced. I'm uncertain about this career. I don't have the book yet. That's what the tipping point finally was. But this is all the prep leading up to it. And I said, okay, I got to pray differently. I pray before meals. I begrudgingly go to church on Sunday. I don't know how else to connect with him, right? And so I'm laying on the floor and I look up and I say, how's your day look, God? And I remember in that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm asking God how his day is or how he's doing. Karri, think about this for 1 second. Like, I am asking God, who I believe is the Alpha, the Omega, how he's doing and what his day looks like. When all he wants to know is how I'm doing and what I need. So it's like, I'm like, why did you create me to care about your people this deeply? I'm exhausted. I'm unfulfilled. I feel like I'm failing as a mother. I'm failing clearly as a wife. I'm failing I'm so discontent in every job that I have, and I've had so many. And it's not even the industry, it's like all different industries, Karri. This isn't like I had like, oh, I've been in healthcare or education my whole life and I just need
You were in
something.
the NBA. I
I've tried
mean,
all the things
that's crazy.
and still discontent. And so I was like, in that moment, I heard him say, like, oh, baby, you know why I created you. Like, get up and let's go. And
Oh,
in that moment, it was like, I
oh,
got to do
goosebumps.
something different.
I got
Baby, you
goosebumps
know
right
why
now.
I created you. You know, you're just not willing to accept it. Like, you're just not willing to accept it. And so that was the moment I would say that I knew that something needed to shift and began to have courageous conversations that made me wildly uncomfortable. And yet Jerzy Gregorchek or something says he loves stoicism. He says, "Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life." And to
Right.
me, that is has been never more true.
And sometimes we have to choose our hard, right? So it would have been hard to stay where you were and to feel that pain, to feel that disappointment in yourself that you knew you were meant for more, have that discontent that you had. But then it's also hard to to go out
Yes,
and discover this path, right? So I think I've personally have went through choose your hard moments like significantly,
you have.
and it's I think one of the worst things that someone can say to you. And my sister had someone tell her this. She met with somebody, and then a year later she met with her again and said, you're exactly where you were last year. And
Mm,
I think about that, and I think about, if you're someone that is sitting you're listening to this, you feel stuck, you're
Mm.
trying to find that momentum or that thing that's happening. The fact that you're even feeling that way is probably the first step, right?
Yes.
And now you have to start to listen. And then you learn, but then there comes a point where you have to take action.
Yes.
So you felt it, you had an aha moment, and then holy cow, now you have to be like, hey, I know that I'm your ride or die, but I'm leaving to go start this company. And um,
Yes.
I also have uncertainty with my
Yes.
income and, how I'm going to do this. And I'm naming it something that people are going to be like, what? What is this?
Yes. I can't
You
even say it, let alone know what it is or
like,
how to be it.
what?
Yes.
Tashi, like, what? You have
Yes.
to explain it to me. And yet, what I see, Allie, is someone who, and you said it a couple times, you identified who you were and what you were feeling in a very authentic way.
Mhm.
And you said this very, you said it intentionally on here, but I've also heard you say it through our work together. You get to
Mm.
serve. So you created a platform for yourself with your God-given gifts, and you get to now go out and do the work that you felt that you were meant to do. And I have a suspicion that that time from when you had your jumping point to this very moment probably flew by. It's like I
Absolutely.
bet you it flew, right?
It did. And, I want to add this other thing. So tapping into the creator or whatever your creator is, say, like, okay, why am I here? Right. Like, so I don't know what that is for people, not trying to give them a playbook, but like at least my playbook, right? Like my story as to how it happened. It was like, and it was very organic because like if anybody were to take these little polls, right? Like when you're in high school and they're like most likely to blank, there is not a human. Okay, take the poll even in college. There is not a human that knows me that would ever be like, oh, she's going to be an entrepreneur someday.
Sure.
And not a one. And so when I tell people this, I mean it with the most, as confidently vulnerable as I can be. This is not my business. I, by paper and just whatever, have no business running my own business. If you were to put up all these, like, this is what you need to be a successful entrepreneur, I would probably not even be in the top. Like, if there's a top 10, I wouldn't even have three of the things. So, right. So, when I tell you that this is something where it's like, again, I am called to do this. And there's been times tested, talk about COVID. So, I speak on stage in front of thousands of people for a living. Karri, nobody was getting in a room during
Sure.
COVID. And that was the time that I wanted to abandon. And I remember being like, Lord, this is your time. Like, if you want me to go back to corporate America, I mean, I always had a foot in and a foot out, right? And I remember a mentor say to me, burn the ship, Al. This is what you're meant to do. Stop tiptoeing. Stop you straddling the fence. Like enough. Like believe that this is what you are called to do. And now let's figure it out piece by piece. And I think we all wish that the story was like, oh my gosh, like the Disney, like here comes the, saving grace, or, like I love Frozen, right? The sister saves the sister. And,
Right.
I always say I want to be the fourth sister in your family. You
Oh
know
yeah,
that.
right, right.
I love your family so much. Like I desire to be the fourth sister. I even call myself that at times. But yeah, so or like the white knight, or whatever it is, like we all wish it was like, but usually it's the
It's not a
heartache.
fairy tale. It's not a fairy
No,
tale, right?
it's the heartache, it's the bootstrapping. I remember packing boxes, Karri, for my first Women Enlightenment series that you helped me create, and wrapping the boxes, while my kids are running around, and like, and then dropping and delivering them because I was so afraid to pay for shipping. Because I'm
Sure.
like, oh my gosh, we just need to save the money. I'll drive up to Appleton or whatever. And then it was like the ego of like, well, I don't want someone to see me leave it at their door. Then they're gonna think like I'm like, I can't afford this, and why should they pay me for the work? And like it was just, so I talk a lot about the circle of help, not being operating out of ego or insecurity. and how easily in this entrepreneur world you can toggle back and forth, and now you're not even your authentic self. Your
Sure.
authentic healthy self is not believing you are better than anybody else, and
Sure.
not feeling that you are less than anybody, or measuring your journey to somebody else's,
Right.
right? So the last thing I did, besides tapping into the creator, having an outside source say, "Hey, read this book," right, and feel having the courage, like I cannot tell you the gratitude I have for that person that tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, like I don't want to give this to you because I think like you're gonna leave, and I feel called to give it to you." Like that to me takes courage, right? Because she could have easily just hit it and been like, "Nope, we don't want to lose her," or whatever the reason was for
Right.
the hesitation. It's like that could have happened. And then maybe it would have been prolonged, right? Even more than maybe what it was. And I just believe in timing is everything. And so then the last thing I did was, a mentor of mine said, "Fear said it. Have you ever heard of Tim Ferriss?" He said. And I said, "No, I haven't." And he said, "Look up the YouTube TED talk on Tim Ferriss, fear setting." And after that, make the decision. And it was like, boom. My greatest fear was that it didn't work out.
Sure.
So then what do I do, Karri? Go
Well,
back to corporate. I was already doing corporate America for 20 years prior. It's like,
but
that's not a real fear, you know?
but here's the thing with fear, right? Like sometimes you need to ask yourself, like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Totally.
And someone told me this once, and I believe it's a Tony Robbins quote, and it said, "You need to learn how to dance with fear because it's never going to go away."
Correct.
You're gonna have fear in everything, right? You're gonna have, fear comes in like self-doubt, and it comes with anxiety and all of these things. But if you can learn how to dance with it
Totally.
and ask yourself, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, it fails and you need to go and get a job. Well, I'm doing that already, just like you said.
Correct. Like
But
that
what
is
if
not
you don't
real.
try? But what if you don't try? And now you're going to sit in that space
You bet.
and you're going to wonder and you're going to have self-doubt. So like what's giving you what's worse, right? Like not trying. And then, something else that you said, Allie, that really resonates with me is that, we kind of like talk about sometimes we just need to get it done and
Mhm.
then we can get it right. So if
Yes.
you try to
You
wait
taught me that.
if you try to wait for things to be perfect, you'll be waiting forever.
Amen.
Like it's never going to be the right time. Wasn't the right timing for you if you had to put it on paper and have someone
Correct.
analyze
Of
it.
all the darn timing of
Right.
seasons of life, Karri, you're exactly right. What I never thought about it like that. Keep going.
Yeah. But when you sit there and you think about it and you're like, okay, you wait for the right time, it's not going to be there, right? Financially, it was probably really scary because you were literally just
Yeah.
going from, you were going to have financial issues to reconcile going from a two to a one person household. So definitely still not the right timing.
Yep.
But something in you had to said, but what if it works out? But what if I make a difference in people's lives? And, what if I'm touching people? And
Yep.
Allie, I can guarantee you that if we were to rewind to
Mm-hmm.
day one and line up everybody who has heard you speak, who
Mm.
has been through one of your classes, that has been in your presence, I guarantee that you've left a little part of you inside each person. And every once in a while, they probably think about that and there's been changes or little things that help them through. And you wouldn't have done that if you wouldn't have learned to dance with that fear and take that leap and make that choice. And I think that it comes back to the work that people do and you said it before, I don't care what business, we are in the people business.
Yes.
Every industry is in the people business somehow, right?
Yeah.
Because even if they're manufacturing a little thing that's going into a diaper machine at KC, they're putting diapers on babies, right? Like there's a human side of it that goes back to it. And but sometimes I think it's when we can truly live in our passion and we are making a difference and, realizing that we're not necessarily doing it for selfish reasons. I'm sure you didn't set out and say like, I'm going to go make a difference to, and then you start keeping track and you're like, da, 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 da. You had a goal. What was that goal that you had? You had a specific number that when we were working together.
Oh, 8 billion to be able to be in a position to impact and influence 8 billion heartbeats and to impact the divorce rate to go down in my lifetime. Not that I will have this like direct dotted line that says like, oh, Tashi Deley did this, but to see the divorce rate go down as a result of people having more skills and tools to navigate hard better, like that's the goal. Like that's the goal for me. And a lot of that comes from me understanding my values and my beliefs and why I believe what I believe and do what I do. And I think the other thing was it's like not like this all of a sudden, like you said, dance with fear. It's like all of a sudden, yes, that is that. That's what I mean. But for me, I don't remember like saying like, I got to figure out how to be comfortable with this. It was more like, what's the cost of inaction?
Sure,
Like
sure.
like you said this story about your sister. It's like a year from now, I'm in the same spot and I know I'm not supposed to be here.
Right.
Like I know I'm not supposed to be here. And on everything on paper, this makes no sense for me to leave right now for every bit of fulfillment that I've had. And I believe God placed the fulfillment because that would have been harder to leave. Like think about this. Even if I had the toughest circumstances in terms of whatever, like personal life. But like I was unhappy at work. That's a much easier leave. But like you're talking about, I'm having a hard time in my personal life and I'm super happy. If there's one anchor that's like a positive anchor, we were talking about that earlier. If there's
Yeah.
one anchor that's a positive anchor, it was my career.
Sure. Sure.
And not to mention the other things. Here's what I also want to share. And I just feel so moved in this moment to share it is two things. One specifically is when you know you're called for something different than what you're currently doing, be mindful of who you share that with.
Hmm.
And here's why. If people are unaware, Karri, that their own uncertainties, missed opportunities, we call it poor, passing on opportunities repeatedly, not poor in spirit or poor in financial,
Sure.
right? It's about passing on opportunities repeatedly. If people are poor and people are not chasing their own lions, and you're trying to have conversations about the lion you are trying to muster up this courage to chase, you don't need more fears. You don't need more fears.
So what I'm hearing you say is that um when you go to make a move like this, sharing it with too many people,
Yes.
they're going to give you more reasons to not do it. So I recently read a quote that said, do it in silence until it's done.
Mm.
And and I think it's kind of along that same line because what starts happening is all these things start coming at you.
You
And
don't need more reasons to excuse yourself from living out what you know you should be living out. You don't need more excuses.
right,
You,
right,
you already are going to have enough that you got to get past within your own insides.
right,
Now you're going to have somebody else project if they have not done their own work.
right, right,
They have
right.
not done their, and that's why I say it's like be selective.
Sure,
Like don't expect something. First of all, don't expect you from other people. That's probably one of the biggest things I've right. Don't expect you from other people, and don't expect people that aren't doing what you're trying to set out to do to give you advice for you to help get you there.
sure.
Let me give you one example. I remember calling one of my dearest friends from college and saying, "Hey, I think I'm taking this leap. And I don't need you to be her. My girlfriend's name is Kay, and she loves this story because it's so true, and she remembers it exactly like I do. Yeah, you remember those? You know those stories where you're like, "Wait, is this really happening? Did this really happen this way, or is it just a way I envisioned?" And they see something different. She's like, "No, this is exactly." You called me up, and you're like, "Girl, I think I'm gonna make this move, and I'm scared, like I'm nervous. I'm already worried about 401k. I'm already worried about health insurance and all these things that people say you need to really worry about. And I said, so like, I don't need practical K. My girlfriend K is extremely practical. Okay. She's the one you're going to hire to help you clean out the basement. Okay. She's super practical. I don't need practical K. I need my cheerleading friend K that's like, go get it, girl. So here's the other thing is like, even if you're not going to like minimize because you want to talk about your dream, I get it. You want to talk, I get that desire to say like, is this real? Like you kind of brush it up against people to say, hey, is like this the path? Is this real? Is this really where I'm supposed to be? But like the point of it is tell people how you need them to show up.
Right?
They're not mind readers. And so like she's like, I can do that. Like
Sure.
I can cheer you on from afar. I can send you quotes. I can remind you of your greatness. I can share with you what I see when I see you. Like I don't have to be the friend. And she's not looking because they don't know how to support you.
Right?
And so let me tell you another story. I did not tell my dad till I left.
Ooh,
Now, for those of people that know me, they know my dad's like my everything, my hero, my everything. He raised my brother and I. I love who I am, and he has a lot to do with who I am today. I did not tell my dad until I had already put in my 2 months or whatever I gave that company, and I did not tell him until I like left. Now that is unique for me, and like the story I would tell myself as a kid is like, well, you can't make these big moves unless you tell your dad. Like you got
sure.
to at least bounce it off your dad. Well, it's like I know my dad well enough. Again, I told you earlier, he's the 40-year plus
Yeah.
commitment, loyal, awesome baby boomer that I adore and also was not created for what I'm created for.
Sure.
And I'm not created for what he was created for. And that's okay. So I think sometimes the people we value, we tend to think like I always say, the people we care about, we feel like we have to care about their opinion.
Sure. Oh
And
yeah,
we
that's
don't.
true. Very
We can
true.
uncouple the two.
Yeah, I could see that. Um, okay, Allie. So, I want to just kind of slide this into some business talk real quick,
Okay.
okay? So, at Brandcast, I love to really talk to people about being their true authentic self. How much of you is integrated into Tashi Deley? Like Allie into your business, how much of you is part of your brand?
Great. I love this question. One of my mentors when I was starting said, "Are you it or do you work for it? Like are you the brand or do you work for the brand?" And
Sure.
I work for the brand.
You work for the brand.
I work for the brand. So when I think of Tashi Deley, I say to myself, it is a movement. It's a
Sure.
way of being more than a business. So you don't even have to hire Tashi for any services to want to be it to people. It's like I see you and I honor the greatness within you. So say.
So, but I would suspect, Allie, that so you're working for the brand, but the brand was probably created
Oh, yes.
off of values
Yes.
that you have because what
Totally. I
what
misunderstood. Yes.
no, no,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
And that's why I'm clarifying because the thing is when we build a brand that is authentic to the values that we hold near and dear to us, that is when we create a brand that's different, a brand that stands out, a brand that other people can get behind. Because I think one of the challenges that people have when they're starting off or they're looking to rebrand, they want to pull a consensus in. They want to take, the 40 people that are working for them and, come up with 300 values that everybody has. But the creator that's the one that has the idea, the one that is doing the creation of the business. They're the leader. They're the ones that are coming in with this unique set of values that is creating a brand off of that. And not that it has to be your face and you are the
Sure.
brand,
Yes. 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 Yes.
but there's an underlying part of that. And then that is how then you're able to show up authentically to do the work that you do. And it's also what will attract people to want to work for you and with you because there's a unique set of values here that you live every day. Because, if you're going to say, I would suspect that just by looking at you, you don't say like, we're going to show up in the most professional um, gear and show, and we're gonna dress to impress every single time. You're wearing a silk headscarf, you're wearing a fuzzy, vest, you've got,
Oh gosh,
six
yes,
inches of bracelets,
yes.
and you look amazing and super authentic. But if one of your values was, we're gonna put on a jacket, and we're going to do these things. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but and I'm using this as a literal point that if we set values in a business and a brand this way, and then we show up differently, there's
Mm,
confusion.
correct.
And so it's so much easier when you take a step back and you say, you know what, these are my values. And I want to take these values and I want to integrate them into my business because that's what's going to make me unique. And that's what's going to make anybody, I do a lot of work with real estate agents, right? And there's, I think, 25,000 real estate agents just in the state of Wisconsin, right? So
Mm,
what makes them different?
yes.
It's a unique, it's their code, right? It's their unique set of values that can't be replicated. And if people try to stay in that, then, then they get to choose. They don't have to choose between who they are and what they build.
Correct.
They can be both. And
Yes. Yes.
that is something that I learned through my journey and things that I like to chat with other people about. Okay, Allie. So if people want more Tashi and
Well, wait, can
like,
I share one thing with you? Because
yes,
off
please,
of that,
please,
okay,
please.
so when you talk about values,
Yeah.
three values.
Yes.
Okay. One is biblical principles. Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Okay.
That's what it's founded off of. So
100.
I can't see someone and honor the greatness within them. And that was my big thing. It's like when I get to heaven, I'm going to be like, Lord, why did we not love ourselves? Like that was the second command. So like there's all these rules prior to Jesus coming. Jesus comes and he's like, wait, it's just two. Love God with all of your heart, love your neighbor as thyself. That's it. That's hard for people. Look around our world, Karri.
Sure.
That's hard. And so that's what I feel like I've been put on this earth to do is help people love even when it's hard, right? Like
And look, turn around and look what you have all over your
I
wall
know.
behind you. Love
I
everywhere.
I
So
know.
there's you living your value, right?
Yes,
Boom.
yes. And the other value, I love you. And the other value is I value, and it didn't hit me until you just said this. I value individuality. I
Mhm.
pride myself in creating deep, genuine relationships to help people celebrate and embrace who they truly are.
Yes. Yes.
So that is the essence of Tashi is we're not trying to make people religious. We're not trying to make people I'm Catholic. We're not trying to make people Catholic. We named it Tashi Deley to be universal in many ways.
Sure.
So if they become Catholic as a result of it, lovely, but that's not the goal. My husband's Lutheran, for gosh
Sure.
sake. It's not like we're trying to convert in a way that's unauthentic, inauthentic, right? So
Sure.
we value, but like no one's going to say, so that's the biblical value, but I'm going to just share the other bit. No one's going to say treating people well is wrong
Right. Right.
or treating people in a humane and kind way, even especially when most people would say they don't deserve it.
Sure. Sure.
That's the uncommon work that we try to do. So yes. So back to your point, yes, we are not terribly professional. I'll show up. You're exactly right. Like I don't think suit and tie is necessary to live out the gifts. I think the authentic self and what is going to be most relevant to you. So if somebody wants to wear a suit and tie because that's who they are, right? Lovely. But
But
that's not the expectation for everybody in the business.
but the point of it is like wear it or don't wear it. It was just for me to, show a visual
Yeah.
representation of an example of, if you set a value when you're building your brand and you're building your business and then you show up differently, there's confusion, right?
Harmony,
Yeah.
disconnect. Yes.
And
Trust, distrust.
yeah.
Yes.
And and you likely, set the stage of people like you're giving, like, hey, you can do this differently. You can do it however you want, like you have and sometimes when you have so many choices, that can be overwhelming as well. So there's so many things. Hey, Allie, I actually would love to do a part two of this. So I might be tapping you on the shoulder
I'm in, baby.
maybe in like April or so because there's so much to there's so much to what you do and so much to the lessons and stuff that you learn. But why don't you tell everybody like how to find Tashi and how to find Allie, and maybe do you have anything fun coming up that people could like get to experience, get their hooks in you and
I
see what you got
love
going
you.
on?
So yeah, tashideley.us, TASHIDELEY.us, US. That is our website, www. I think that if I wanted to leave our people with one thing, I would want to leave them with a story. So like you can connect with me anytime, shoot me a note. If you have an event coming up, of course I would love to be considered and see if I'm a good fit for it. But oftentimes like that's something too where someone could go online and just fill out the proposal for the, what event they have and where it's at and
And what
yeah.
other thing? You did a TED Talk, but you also hosted a TED Talk, didn't you? Weren't you
So
the MC?
you are so cute. I have been so blessed and honored. This last year was my 5th year being the MC for TEDx Oshkosh. It
Wow.
is the only TEDx in Wisconsin
Wow.
because it's run based off of all volunteers, Karri. It's so cool. So talk about sharing your story. Like that is a
Right.
massive place to share your
It is.
story. And I just love helping, get people that, opportunity to step on that red dot and just see, like, be able to experience it. Like they're always, I should say always, I don't love using absolutes, but typically they're nervous before they go on, right? Typically, because you don't have to be a speaker to do this, right? Like everybody has a story to tell. And so, and then I look at them and I smile when I offer them a Listerine strip, like a little Listerine strip. And I'm like, listen, right now you're thinking, why the heck did I say yes to this? Why would I apply? Like no one made me do this. Why am I? And then when you're done, you're like, yes, that was liberating. And yes, I was uncomfortable. And now I reach a different level of confidence because I'm doing stuff that makes me uncomfortable and I'm getting more comfortable with it's just awesome. So yes, I did a TEDx talk on servant leadership in a jar. So grateful for that. But yes. Okay. So can I leave with just a quick story?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's from this book, Eckhart Tolle, on New Earth. It's one of my, it just transformative books. But he says an Indian philosopher and spiritual teacher spoke and traveled almost continuously all over the world for more than 50 years, attempting to convey through words, which is content, that which is beyond words, beyond content. At one of his talks in the later part of his life, he surprised the audience by asking, hey, do you want to know my secret? Everyone became very alert. Many people in the audience had been coming to listen to him for 20 to 30 years and still failed to grasp the essence of his teaching. Finally, after all these years, the master was going to give them the key to understanding, the key to enlightenment. He said, this is my secret. I don't mind what happens.
Wow.
I don't mind what happens. And so to our future entrepreneurs, to our current entrepreneurs, to whatever this group that you are so beautifully bringing together, to not be attached to what doesn't mean we don't drive. It doesn't mean we don't chase the lion. It does not mean it gives us an excuse to not take action. In fact, it should liberate us to do that because we're not attached to the outcome. We're experimenting. We're getting curious. We're exploring what we're created to do. And like you said, sometimes we don't have done is better than perfect.
Right.
I
Right.
love you. Thank you for having me.
Love you too. Thank you so much. You're just you're a breath of fresh air, and
As are you.
I can't do that hard. I'm old school.
I know I had to teach. No, I'll tell you, my kids had to teach me, my basketball kids. They said, peace, coach. Now turn it. No, do like this. Peace with your palms towards me. Wait, here. Now palms towards you. Turn it. And it's hard to do.
I can't do it.
Woo! Regardless,
okay.
old school, new school, whatever
do this.
school. I love you. You love me.
You too.
You love our team. Thank
Oh
you.
my God.
Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
Yes, and I appreciate it. And thank you to everyone that has listened. And you know what? Go follow Allie. She's amazing, and there is just no end to her energy and the light that she brings into this world. And I'm grateful that you took the journey that you did because we would not be sitting here talking today. And I'm grateful for every moment of your life that you've given to me and have helped me in so many ways that you don't even know throughout the years. So I have gratitude towards you, and I'm so thankful that you took this leap and that you shared your story because you definitely had a story to tell, and you probably have 5,000 more, and it is worth listening. And I hope that you inspire more to do that. So thank you so much. And thank you for watching, and watch for our next episode that will be coming out next week. So thank you. And you know what? I'm going to leave you all in Allie's presence. Just like embrace her. So embrace her light. Thank you.